While shepherds watched their flocks by night, all seated on the ground, the angel of the Lord came down, and glory shone around, and glory shone around. This verse sets the scene of the announcement to the shepherds. You have the shepherds, you have the sheep, we have an angel, and we have the glory of the Lord. These are all the things that we encounter as part of the Christmas story. And this is what we would expect. And in many ways, this also reminds us that this is an English carol because it mentions the earth. It's something that can drive some people crazy with English carols, as they seem to mention things to set the scene and not always deal heavily with what is the point of the scene. In this case, however, the ground is important because it says much about the shepherds. When you think about it, can one think highly or lofty of oneself if they're sitting on the ground? Kings and queens sit on thrones, not the ground. Except in Jonah, where the king of Nineveh, as an act of mourning and submission, sits on the ground. Overall, however, sitting on the ground is both humbling and equalizing. When we think about it, when people sit on the ground, we all sit on the same level. No one can be higher than another except by their own height. There's no easy or reasonable way to raise oneself higher than another. It is equalizing, which is why in Jonah 3, the king of Nineveh sits on the ground as an act of piety and humiliation at the condemnation from God. Because one cannot show off their wealth and power when they're sitting in the dirt. And it makes everyone equal. The shepherds, being humble, are on par with one another. And these are the ones who heard the good news. They're the first to hear that the Messiah has come. And this tells us something about God because it tells us what God wants. God wants the humble. God wants those who do not seek to raise themselves above others. And reminds us that Christ came to teach that humility is good.